Hey guys, welcome to the first video of the Porcelain Tower runs that we did. This is going to be a video series of, our first run through, and then just kind of comments about, maybe what you could do to, help yourself get through it, and just kind of like, little tips and tricks that, I found or issues that I had. So we'll kind of be talking through those. This is going to be just the first 5 floors. They ended up being kind of long, so I'm going to be splitting them up as we go. Check the rest of the channel for that. They'll be uploading over the next few days. Otherwise, yeah, so we will get started then. The Porcelain Tower. I'm really excited, and I hope you guys are too. Alright, so for the first floor, what we're going to be doing is we're just going to be taking, our range DPS units, and then, a decent tank and a few of the lower level units, being like Phoebe and stuff. My original plan was that actually I was going to use Phoebe as a low level healer for some of the early floors, but as you'll probably notice, she wasn't leveled enough to actually have any of the healing skills that I was looking forward to using on her. So with this floor, you can, it's pretty simple. I used my gunners to just kind of go around the map. I would recommend, especially for free-to-play players, that you do have some kind of tank here on the left-hand side of that stairs, because as you'll see, there's actually a ranged unit that's sitting on the stairs over there. Kind of by the mage, and that is actually going to be shooting an arrow down at my Mont here in a second, right there. So yeah, basically just making it so that way my throwaway tank for the earlier runs was gonna take, hopefully most, if not all, of the damage in these lower floors, and just use my range damage dealers to pick people off from afar without incurring too much problems. And, luckily I have spent a lot of time investing in my ranged units, so their attack damage, even just for regular auto attacks, is pretty strong. So, as you'll see, this entire floor ends up just being cleared with just regular auto attacks. I think even, realistically, because of the level of these characters, if that thunder had actually hit my Fred, it wouldn't have been a big deal at all, right? Same element and stuff. But for free-to-play players, maybe make sure that as you push up that your tank is, leading the charge kind of thing. This should be fairly easy floor, even for free-to-play players, I think, if you've been playing the game for like any period of time. But, just, be cautious if you're a newer player and, slowly work on it over time. Alright, so for floor 2, I didn't actually make any substitutions. Phoebe and Mia, as you probably noticed in the last floor, it didn't really do a whole lot. That's not really going to be changing too much here. This floor actually does have a potential problem for some groups, and particularly gunners and casters and stuff. The way that the stairs work is that they're kind of weird line of sight. So you may be having issues if you can't get down the stairs before they start coming up the stairs, getting attacks on those units. So if you do happen to have that problem, just hang out up here and let the units come up here, or try and bait them, with your tank or something like that. What we're going to do first is we're just going to have Lucia peek in the doorway. She's pretty strong, right? So she's going to be able to just kill it in one shot. But in an ideal situation, maybe, you have your tank go like 1 or 2 more spots into the doorway to lure the ogre up the stairs a little bit, and then, give yourself some time to get your other units in a position where they can DPS either from the first room or, move a little bit into the second room to fight the ogre. Again, a lot of this early floor stuff is going to be kind of trivial if you have decent units, but this is hopefully, I'm thinking that not a whole lot of people with really good units are going to be probably watching these videos anyway, at least not the first couple of floors, so You know, if you're watching this, I'm kind of just assuming that you're more of a newer player, or you're, you know, trying to get a better idea about little things like, you know, the stairs and stuff like that that might make your run a little bit smoother. For stuff in general, like you could look at, you know, a lot of these units are water and dark, so you could look at particularly using, you know, like Fred is good here. She's going to be good in a lot of these early floors, like I said before. But any Thunder unit, Celir would be pretty good here. You know, whatever element you really want to use, especially for these early floors, you'll probably be fine. So nothing really to worry about there. So I think that was pretty much it for this floor, so I'll just go ahead and let the video play out for the rest of the floor, and then I'll pop back in for the next one. Alright, so for floor 3, I actually did end up switching in Cadia for, sorry about that, for Phoebe, because she does have a little bit of a heal, and I figured, you know, in case I need to actually, you know, do any healing and maybe, you know, try and give Mont a little more health as we, you know, move forward through the tower. A lot of what I'm doing here is kind of using these lower level units to do filler for me and kind of prolong the time until I really need to bring in some of my bigger units, right? Like, I don't really want to use Ayaka's Cure for healing up my 55 Mont, who's just kind of my throwaway tank in this scenario. I'm also taking Ketone just because Mia was just not doing a whole lot, so I was like, you know, might as well take Ketone instead. So for this one right here, water damage units are going to be really, really strong, but also any unit that can just do really big AoE. Like, I kind of wish that I had used like Medina here, because she probably could have just killed like that entire first section like by herself. She would have, you know, a slight element at disadvantage or whatever, but I don't think it would be too crazy. But yeah, any water AoE caster you can think of. I think there's like Servo or something like that. And any like AoE caster in general. Again, Celir is going to be good here. I think Medina would do fine, even though the elemental weakness is on her side. They didn't really do that much damage. However, for my strategy of just using these, you know, high-level gunners to do damage from afar, it just made it so that way it was really slow on getting through all these mobs. So the strategy works, but it's just that it's, you know, very single target oriented, like one mob at a time, kill it, move on to the next one the next turn. So I don't think there's anything other than that for this floor, so we'll just let it play.
enjoy myself. Hit point! Good work.
I guess we did well.
Alright, so for floor 4, I actually brought in Orlando instead of the ketone that we were using on floor 3. Basically, that last DPS slot just hasn't been doing a whole lot for me, so I was like, alright, you know, we'll just put Orlando in and try and get through a little faster. Orlando's not one of my, you know, highest level damage dealers, but he's also, you know, nothing to shake a stick at, as some would say, you know. So he's gonna do a bit of work here. I did equip the metal cactar sword or whatever, but honestly that wasn't really worth, like, it probably wasn't worth it at all in the long run. These units are pretty squishy, but for you know, a fairly new player, if you do happen to have that sword, it may actually help you. As well as, you know, any earth killer that you can get from you know, espers, or I think there's a vision card for it. I have to go and check. But I would make sure that you kill the mages first, or at least when possible. I think that they can heal, but I didn't really give them a whole lot of opportunity to heal, so I don't know for sure. I'm trying to remember if they got a heal off or not, but I don't think that they did. Maybe we'll see in a second here that one at the top of the screen there is charging right now. But I was kind of using Cadia to go ahead and just fill in a little extra health here and there. Yeah, so they do heal. So yeah, make sure you do kill those mages first. If you're taking, you know, if you're not just one-shotting everything as you go through this floor. And then yeah, like I said, just using Cadia to, you know, just fill up a little bit. As we're moving up, she's not really going to be relevant in the coming floors just because of her level and stuff. These units are level 30 or 25, and she's only like level 30. So I think the next floor we probably end up switching her out. But yeah, just trying to get as much use out of her ability to heal the team as possible, and just kind of prolong the point at which we have to swap Mont out. Because he is just my first throwaway tank in this scenario. Alright, so for floor 5, I brought in Fina instead of Cadia. You know, we're starting to get to level 45 stuff, and so having a level 30 healer is just not really going to work anymore. So we did bring in Fina instead, who matches the level of the event here. And as you can see, there's a lot of water and fire units, so water and thunder units are going to be strong here. I don't remember a whole lot of anything particular about this fight. I think there maybe were a few mobs that were like missile resistant, but that might have been a later floor. Let's just see for a sec here. It does kind of suck that, yeah, I don't know, so they're just guarding, I guess. But just be aware that there may be, you know, instances where you do less damage than you might be expecting there. And again, just kind of trying to min-max the healers that I have to prolong the point at which I need to swap out my tank. Since Fina's only going to be, you know, she's only level 45 right now, she's probably only realistically going to do this floor, and the next floor we'll have to swap her out for a real healer. Ugh, say that 5 times fast. Anyway, so I think realistically the next healer that I have to swap in is Ayaka. So yeah, like I said, just trying to really swap in the, or do as much healing as I can, right, with the limited number of spells that I have. You know, and Fred being able to kill his units from afar, Lucia being able to do pretty good range damage, right? That really helps when it comes to clearing these kind of weird maps too. I think ideally in this kind of situation you don't really run a bunch of melee, just because you're going to probably run into issues where you have a lot of, you know, times where the enemy is blocking you and you can't really get to them, and like right here, only one unit for melee would be able to attack that unit. Alright, so luckily I just have Orlando there, and here we're just going to keep charging forward. Kind of getting to the point too where with the rest of the team, Mont is so far behind because of his, you know, lack of agility and lack of levels and stuff, that he's just kind of lagging in the back here. So Orlando ends up taking a bit more of the tanking role than probably will happen as a, you know, newer player. But yeah, that's pretty much it for floors 1 through 5. I can't really think of anything, you know, additional, but I think for the most part these will be, you know, pretty easy. If you have some like level 40, level 50, you know, even 55, 60 units, without a whole lot of coordination, you should be able to get through this pretty easily. And then I'll also be working on a video with more details for some of these later floors. Particularly the first 10 floors are pretty short and not really a huge deal, but then after that, you know, things get quite a bit harder. So I will see you guys then. Check out those other videos if you guys are looking for those as well.